Hello all, welcome back to Rust-A-Hog. I'm Patrick and we're still working on my 1969 Pontiac Catalina station wagon. And this episode is really exciting because we get to start filler. I love filler. And if you don't believe me, check out my video on my 1977 Camaro because that car is about 40% mud. Absolutely. Anywho's, before we can get started with filler, there's a lot of prep we have to do. I can't just start slapping mud on top of the bare metal. I do have to prep it. And for me, I have a very specific set of steps. You guys might have some different steps, and some of my steps you might even be able to skip. I don't know. But for me, I take a lot of confidence in just the process by itself. Just the fact that even if I don't do every single step to the best of my ability, just the fact that I did the steps at all is going to yield me positive results. At least that's my belief, and that's what I go with. So I'm going to show you what I do. If you guys do something different, or if you have some tips for me, feel free to let me know in the comments. I love getting tips from subscribers. In fact, one of my processes that I'm going to be talking about is a tip from a subscriber. So I'm going to try it and incorporate it into my own thing for the first time this time. So that's it. Let's get started and start prepping it. With the first one is going to knock down some of this top rust here, and we'll start from there. All right, let's check it out. All right, kind of just want to show you real quick what I'm talking about. So we sanded this down probably a month ago, and it's already getting some flash rust on it. You can see it's starting to turn brown in different locations and up around here where we're going to be working. So really all I'm going to be doing is basically going to take an orbital sander with 150 grit, and I'm just going to go over the roof. And we're going to concentrate on the roof for this first episode here, and hopefully we can get this ready. And of course the goal is always paint, right? You're thinking about paint. So for me, the first coating I'm going to put on here, once I get this as flat as I want it to be, is going to be epoxy. So yep, we're going to try to seal it. So anywho, what we're going to do is I'm just going to hit this with an orbital and try and do, pretty much I'm going to do this whole hood, sand it down one more time with 150 grit, and just try to get this knocked off, and any weird dirt or anything else that might be in here. Might dig into this a little bit further or this a little bit further, just get all of this flat so I can get the nicest mechanically clean surface I can get, and that's going to be my starting point. All right, let's get going. Here's our mission, and I just completed with step one, which was I just went back over this whole roof very closely, looking at little details, trying to get all the rest of that paint out of there. And the more I look, I still find some. Dang it! So I'm going to hit that one more time, and then we're going to move on to the next step, which really is going to be a lot of cleaning. My first step though is I'm going to actually hit this with some vinegar, and that should try to neutralize some of the rust. Then we're going to continue with the cleaning before we actually get to filler. So just wanted to show you, first thing I'm noticing here is giving, you can see the difference where the vinegar was. Turning it this like yellowish color, which is fine. I got it not dry, but it's just got a film on it, and I think that's okay. I'm gonna let that sit while I clean the rest of the car. I'm gonna go ahead and let it, that way the vinegar has a chance to do whatever chemical reactions it's gonna do. I just don't want it drooling over the side of the car, but it's I think it's good now. We'll get this all the way to the rest, and then we'll start cleaning the vinegar off. also and get everything ready for mud. Here's the first rinse with vinegar. This is a step I've never actually done before. It was proposed by a subscriber, so I'm giving it a shot. It's supposed to help neutralize the rust before putting on any base coats and whatever, but we do have to get all this off. But we're going to be cleaning this anyway, so I figure we might as well start cleaning it with vinegar. Now the next step, I think I'm going to use this a little bit of simple green. And then a water rinse, and we'll see how much we can get off of this. I'm not trying to soak it with a hose, that's why I use the spray bottles, but we'll see if we can't get all of this orange off. But that's pretty chemistry. Chemistry is pretty cool. It's doing something. For sure, it's doing something. All right, first pass, not too bad. It was touch and go there for a second, but it's clean now. The key was the steel wool. The steel wool definitely made a difference. I was panicking for a second when I tried to just do it with a towel because it wasn't gonna go, but little steel wool is good. So you've seen the process. That was the first time I've ever done it. It seems pretty cool. The only thing I can really tell is the rust spots got blacker, but I don't know, we're gonna call that good, but there is still some residue on there, so we're gonna keep cleaning. So yeah, guess what's next? I'm gonna do that probably 1 or 2 more times with some more cleaner, some water, and just go back and forth and do that until I'm happy with it. So I'll spare you those details, but don't skip those steps. It's really important. But I'm gonna get this totally cleaned down, and hopefully when I come back, we'll be ready to put down some mud. All right, let's do it. All right, we've made it to the last step before mud. So let's do a quick recap. What did we do? We started out with vinegar, right? And then went ahead and wiped all that down. That turned it a nice crazy orange color. It's kind of cool. Then I used some simple green to cut that with some, not even a Scotch-Brite, with the steel wool. That worked really well. And I went over that twice, almost 3 times with the simple green. And then I did it a couple more times with just water, just to rinse it. And now, finally, the last step for me is I'm just going to use some alcohol. And I was using like some polishing pads or something, but I'm just going to go to my regular paper towels for this last step, and just going to go through the whole thing and try to get it as clean as possible, and then I think we'll be ready for mud. So, all right, let's get to it. This is just 70%, nothing fancy. Get it at Walgreens. Probably should be storing my stuff on the clean car. That's the dirty part though. That's basically it. Once I go through the whole thing and I get my towel pretty clean, we'll go through the whole thing, and then I'm just going to let it dry, and then we'll start the mud. It's clean, finally. Now we can do some mud. And what mud are we going to be using today? USC all metal, at least for the foundation. And what I mean by foundation is we're going to be using the all metal to just really squish it deep down into all those little rusty crevices and stuff. This is a direct to metal application, so it's going to work really, really good for that. And it's also, it's hard as hell. It is so hard to sand actually, and so this first, I don't want to use this, you don't want to use this for like a skim coat or something. You'd be like sanding for 100 years. I don't think you can even like affect this stuff with anything less than 100 grit. So we're going to use this sparingly. We're going to put it in the gaps for sure that we had in the back of the car where the those seams came together. Definitely going to fill that with this, but otherwise it's just going to be used as the foundation inside those crevices, and we're only going to use just the very skim right across the top, and hopefully that's going to be enough, because we'll probably end up skimming most of the roof anyway over the top of this with some other mud, but this stuff is really good for filling and being a solid foundation. So that's what we're going to use, but it's hella toxic. So always remember, use your respirators, of course, so I'll be doing that. I do have a couple new sets of tools here. I usually run about 3 of these spreaders at a time, and there's probably, because I've had this for a while, so there's probably a spreader in there, and that's just for scooping. That's all it's used for. And then I have another spreader for mixing it up, and then I think there's another spreader for the cleaning process, right? So you keep a clean one you use for spreading, and one in the can. So I use multiple spreaders at the same time. Always wearing gloves, of course, and this is a 2-part, so it does have a hardener, and I think it's going to take a little trial and error, but I think it was somewhere between 9 and 11 drops for what I do, and I usually do about, you know, maybe 1.5 inch, 2-inch top diameter circle, and that's plenty, and that's going to be good for working time for a couple minutes, and then it hardens up, and it's good. So that's going to be plenty for what we're doing, and we're just going to have to do it a bunch. I don't like cooking up a whole bunch of it, because then I get panicked and stuff. So I'd rather run out with plenty of time. That's just me. But that's what we do. So just make sure you're wearing, oh, one other thing. You want to knead this stuff, right? So kind of like that. You don't want to like chop it up or anything. You're trying to like push the air bubbles out or what have you. So I'll knead it for a few minutes until the color is a uniform color, and then once that's done, you're ready to rock. So, all right, that being said, I'm going to mix up the first batch. I'll get you guys set up over there and start laying this down. Very exciting. What are you doing? I just cleaned that. Get off, get off, get off. No, get out. What are you doing? What are you doing? Somewhere else. we're gonna have to mix it. Well, that's an abort and a wasted, I don't know, that's a lot of money, but that's hard as a rock. So, and now I've got chunks in it. So that's not going to work. No bueno. Well, that sucks. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but this can is foobarred. It is like solid, and you know, I don't remember. I probably bought this 3 years ago, if not longer, and I used some of it, and then it's got a big dent in the side. I don't know, whatever. But now it's unusable, and even the stuff that was kind of loose at the top that maybe had a shot, well, I chunked it all up trying to dig out what was underneath it. So now it's just got a bunch of clumps and chunks in it, and that's not going to help anybody when we're talking about filler. So we need a new plan. I need new filler. So I still wanted to use that or something similar. So let me go back to the books and see what we can figure out. Dang it. All right, I'm back. And we did get some all metal. It's a quart, which should be plenty for what we're doing here. Very excited, but that did take some time. So I don't know if we're gonna be able to finish the whole roof right now, but I'm gonna do at least a little bit what I can, and then we'll just have to come back and finish it up. But yeah, let's go ahead and get going and see what we can do. All right, let's do it. This first batch is just going to be a test. I just want to make sure it hardens the way that I want it to and what I'm expecting. I'm probably just going to toss it, but I just want to check it first and see how we're doing. It's like 5 minutes later and it's really hard. Well, it's getting there. I still think I put in a little bit not enough hardener. I think it was a little bit slower, but that's why I like these sheets. Just get rid of it. Start again. I use xylene for cleaning. You can see it cleans it really quickly. And that's it, it's all clean. Just let it sit for a minute, it'll dry, and then I'll mix up a new batch and we'll start throwing it on the car. Starting to get hard there. Keep it thin, keep it thin. that we got our first pass on, I think next step is I'm gonna grab some 60 grit and just knock all this stuff back. I wanna see what's left. And really we don't need all of this on the roof of the car. We just wanna fill the holes anyway. The only other thing is this dust isn't great either, so I'm gonna keep wearing a mask, try to stay ventilated here, got the fans on, but we'll try to knock this out as soon as we can. All right, let's see what we're left with.